Breaking news. Nobody has a vote this week. Survivor 45, Week 9, Episode 9 here. We are coming off a pretty awesome tribal. Okay, the blind side of Kelly, even though it was kind of hinted right before Tribal Council, it kind of just, looked like it was going to be Jake. And the ultimate blind side of Kelly was a very, very fun Tribal Council to watch. It's mostly because she just had no idea whatsoever. So even though it wasn't really, sometimes they do it where a blind side isn't really known to the audience even, and they kind of play it that way. We kind of knew it could have happened. It was fun to watch. Just the reaction of someone who had no idea whatsoever that they were going to go. And she had a pretty crazy reaction. And Jake did too. It was a pretty wild Tribal Council. So we're coming off of that Tribal Council. Jake is kind of blown away. He won basically that Tribal Council. He made it. He was able to stay in the game another day. And Kelly is the second one on the jury. Such as is the way of things in Survivor 45 right now. We're focusing a lot on Bruce. Bruce is a heavy focus like every week now, so he's like one of those players, man, that just get a lot of the focus, and Bruce is definitely one of those players. And he's kind of weirdly upset after this Tribal Council because Kelly was to him an ally and she was voted out, and he really had no idea that she was going to be voted out. We all know that Kelly was, along with basically everyone else, who really didn't like Bruce, and she even wanted to get him out. And he also does learn from everyone else in the tribe that she didn't like him and she wanted to get him out. So he's kind of like freaking out, kind of upset about that a little bit. So we did get a little bit of that with Bruce. So he's kind of starting to, I don't know if he'd say he's changing yet in the game. We'll see if he really changes in the game after this whole flip here of learning some things about his ally that was just blindsided. We'll see where that goes. But Bruce is... when we get to the challenge, we'll get to it. Bruce is having a hell of a game right now. He really is. So before we even get to the actual challenge and the weird thing they did with the challenge, we also do have Austin with his amulet, which I did mention at the end of last week. Austin's amulet is now at full power. Kelly and Jay are now both out of the game, and he has a full idol in his possession now. So he is in a good position now in the game for sure. And that was kind of what was revealed in this episode if you kind of forgot about it. So that is something that he now has. He now has an idol along with Bruce. So I think those are the only two with idols right now. At least normal idols. So there's a few idols out there. We'll see how it goes with that. But going into the challenge, they had Tree Mail come in before they went to their challenge, and the entire tribe was told to split up into groups of 3. So there's 3 different teams, 3 each, 9 people left, split up into 3 groups, and we're basically going to do another group individual challenge. So this is something they've also done pretty recently, at least as of recent, where they start out a challenge, an individual challenge, as a group challenge. It's like 2 or 3 groups, and they start off the challenge in one stage and the next stage and the next stage, and they ultimately narrow it down to like 3 people that are left to compete as an individual immunity challenge. So there will only be one individual winner, but until you get to the end there, you are competing as a team. So you narrow it down from 3 teams to 2 teams, and then you compete for the individual as 3 people left. But the twist this time around is that the first team that gets out does lose their vote. So this is a very common trend in Survivor. I would say especially in Survivor 45 alone. This season has been heavy on the lose your vote stuff. And this is something that Jeff does to just kind of throw twists in there, It is, I guess, something that seems fairly recent, like heavily recently used. Like, I think it's been used for quite a while now, but like it's being used extremely heavy now. And this time around, we're taking vote away from 3 different people at once. It's a little ridiculous. It's a little excessive, and it's kind of annoying. It really is. I just want to see a tribal council where everybody on the tribe can vote. I want to see everyone play the game, and it takes that away, I think. So it's another twist I don't like that that Jeff is doing. I don't know why they continue to push it. I mean, this is excessive now. 3 people at once losing their vote. Like they did it like last week or whatever with the auction. You lose your vote if you have the most money. It's like lose your vote. You do this, you do that, you lose your vote. Like, can we stop this, please? It's getting a little old. So the first team that does end up losing is Emily, Austin, and Kendra. So they all lose their vote, but Jeff also does mention that there will be an opportunity for them to all earn their vote back. So it's some little thing they're doing to just basically throw another twist into the game. And I don't know, maybe it's entertaining for some people. I think it's actually just annoying to me, but I don't know, maybe some people like watching that stuff. So once we get to the actual individual challenge at the end, it does come down to Julie and Bruce again, just like before. So it's interesting. On 2 weeks in a row now, we got Julie and Bruce, two of the oldest people on the entire game right now this season, are once again the last two people competing for individual immunity. And yes, Bruce does it again. Bruce wins individual immunity. Bruce has won 2 times in a row, and he has definitely needed it. He's having a hell of a game right now. I guess at least in this part of the game. Everyone on his tribe seems to hate him, but he never seems to really get voted out. He's targeted, but the times when everyone wanted to get rid of him, they didn't. When he was vulnerable, and now he's winning, and everyone's all worked up and mad about it. It's like you could have gotten him out when you wanted to, and you never did. You hated him a while ago, so why didn't you get him out then? So I'm all on Team Bruce now. I think it's just funny how the entire cast hates this guy, and they want him gone, yet he's still sticking around. It's hard for me not to root for someone like that in the season for sure. So I am really liking Bruce, and he is the victor. But the winning team did get to have a reward. So even though there's one individual winner, the entire team did get to have a reward. They did the reward. The other team that lost completely now lost their vote. So that is something that we will also be doing. So Emily, Austin, and Kendra are all sent off to do on a journey to get their vote back. And it's a pretty ridiculous way to get your vote back. Actually, they all send them off on a separate path, and they all have to solve a math problem, I believe in like 3 minutes. That's from what I understood. If I misheard that when I saw it, I am mistaken then, but I believe I heard 3 minutes that they had to solve this math problem on their board to get their vote back. So they go in the front of this thing, and there's this whole math problem laid out. There's a bunch of numbers, and the final amount is there, equals 100, and you have to put all these numbers together and solve it and figure out what numbers, go into the math problem to solve to get 100. So they only give them, if it's only 3 minutes, then it is, I think that's ridiculous. It might have been more. There was like a timer there, a sand timer on the left of them, I believe. So they had a timer, and that was also kind of pushing them to kind of freak out. And ultimately, Austin is the only one who actually managed to get his vote back. So we are still now down 2 people without a vote this tribal council, and it's just ridiculous. I think it is. But Emily and Kendra both do not have a vote this tribal council, and Austin does. But when they get back to their tribe, Austin does actually lie to everybody and say he lost his vote as well. He never managed to get it back. So he only tells his alliance that he does have a vote, and that secret is kept pretty well throughout until tribal council. So that was a good lie by him, I think. I don't know if it really helped him in the end, but he managed to keep that secret. So this episode is not as exciting as it was last week with tribal council. It's kind of hard to come back from my tribal council. It's kind of that exciting with the blind side and all, but it was a pretty basic tribal council. The Austin lie actually did almost come unraveled, but not really. It didn't really matter much in the end for this vote, but Kendra did end up suspecting that maybe somebody actually lied about getting their vote back or not. They were discussing that, and then ultimately Kendra was the one voted out of this tribal council, and it was pretty just like whatever, she was the next one voted out. It kind of came down to, I think, Jake again and Kendra, and it was Kendra that was voted out. So Jake is still there. Bruce is still there. My favorites earlier on were kind of like Sifu and Caleb. I'm glad I found some others that I kind of like again. I do like Bruce. I think I like Jake more than Bruce, but I'm rooting for Bruce a lot because of just how much everybody hates the guy. But those are kind of my 2 kind of favorites right now. I don't really have a full-blown favorite in this season. I think the whole Bruce thing is just funny, and that's why I'm rooting for him. But Kendra is gone this week, and she is the 3rd member of the jury. But we'll see what happens next week. Hopefully we get some more really exciting tribals like last week, though. That was really, really fun. But for this week, pretty basic, pretty straightforward. The vote didn't seem too dramatic this time around, and Kendra is gone.